Coach, at this point, you've been talking about getting your team to a certain level you compete each and every game. Are you guys there? Are you almost there?
I thought after the Jacksonville State beating that we took, we really started doing some searching, and the last 3 games, I feel like we've competed and we have been the team that I thought we could be all along. The win at Tech was huge for us, and then going to Belmont and going toe-to-toe with them and actually having a chance to win the game, I think gave our kids a lot of confidence. And then going to State on Saturday and being able to play 4 quarters and get the job done there. I think the confidence is high, and I believe the kids understand that a lot of times hard work and effort will overcome maybe a talent deficit that we have in certain areas. So the buy-in's there, and the kids are giving me a lot of effort, and really appreciative of that, and feel like that effort, if we can sustain it, can put us in games for the rest of the season.
Those of us that weren't able to make the Belmont game, we were in tune through social media and whatnot and saw that game never really got away from either team. Belmont stayed close, you guys stayed close. Was losing that game more of a letdown for your team, or was it more of a we were right there with what should be the best team in the conference?
We're never satisfied to lose a game. There are no moral victories in my book ever. There's always a winner and a loser, and we lost the game. But I felt like that the confidence level went up a little bit to realize that when we do certain things and we follow the scout and we're patient offensively and we play together, that we can beat anybody. And I think that night proved that. We did a great job on Maggard. An outstanding job on her. And she got loose twice and made 2 daggers, which is what all conference players do. But all in all, we had an opportunity at times. I think they got up by 8 and we could have quit, and we didn't. And we kept fighting back. And, to give yourself a chance to win the game at Belmont and be in the game in the last 2 minutes, I think is something that our program took a step forward that day, in my opinion.
Talk about the rebounding that has also progressed for you over the last couple of weeks.
Well, rebounding is effort, especially when you're outsized every single night. But the kids have really bought into that. We've team rebounded. We've done a lot of good things defensively in our rotations and our blocking out, and those are things that we've been working on all year, but it's just kind of finally clicked a little bit. But I will always say that rebounding is effort. It doesn't matter if you're 6'3" or 5'3". If you want to go get the basketball, you'll get the basketball. And our kids have really understood that one reason we've been in all these games is because we're limiting the other team's possessions. And you do that by turning them over and not giving them offensive rebounds. So we're doing a good job in both of those categories.
You tell us about Morehead State, one of the top teams in the league coming in this week.
This week's really big for us. We have not played well at home. I'm not sure why. We have played better on the road. I talked to the players about showing the home folks where we are. We're not the same team that left here 4 games ago. I really don't believe that. I believe we're better. But we need to go and show that, and you have to prove that. You can't talk about it. You got to go do it. Morehead's going to be a big step for us in getting ourselves into the tournament. They're very well coached. They're very good defensively. They're a very good offensive rebounding team. And so there are going to be certain things that we're going to have to do and certain things that we're going to have to limit in order to give ourselves a chance to win.
Over these last 4 games, what area of the game for your team has improved the most in your eyes?
Well, defensively, we've gotten better. We're not giving up the 90 points a game that we were giving up earlier, and I think that's more attention to detail and following the scout and taking away things that we know we need to take care of. Also limiting offensive rebounding opportunities. We haven't turned the ball over a whole lot. And offensively, we've been patient. We only took 11 threes in the Tennessee State game. That's great, because we were relying on it way too much at the beginning of the season. But our patience and our execution offensively and our attention to detail defensively, along with our rebounding effort, I believe is the reason that we're better.
I know that we've talked a lot about her, but it seems like over these last 2 weeks, you talk about the coachability, how well Brianna Crane is playing. She's really looking like a rebounding piece for you guys. How pivotal has she been just over these last 2 weeks in trying to get what you want done?
She's doing great. She's a lot of our offense too. She sets a lot of our ball screens, and she sets those up, and she's doing a really good job of getting other people open, rolling to the basket, catching the ball, and finishing. She has gotten to the point where she goes after the rebound. It's blocking out's important, but ultimately you just got to go get the basketball, and that's the one thing that we've tried to teach her, and she's done a good job of that. She also has really defended in the paint well for us, being undersized. So she continues to bring a lot to us. Her energy, her effort, and her attitude are outstanding. Her teammates love playing with her because she brings that on every possession.
How much has her progression kind of maybe been expected, or is it something that she's worked at to get to this point?
Well, she puts in extra time. You know, she's in the gym. She's doing individual workouts. She's working on her game. We isolate our guard posts in practice a lot, and I've taken the post players and done some work with them. And because she is coachable, she's listened. Some of her finishes have come from moves that we have worked on since the beginning of the season, and she never has felt comfortable with. And then finally starting to use them and finish those against bigger players. So the credit goes to her. I mean, she's worked at it. She's listened. She's done the things that we've asked her to do. And she's a good teammate. If her teammates tell her something on the floor, it's, you know, yes, I'll do that for you. And that goes a long way.
I noticed in the Tennessee Tech game, and I know we talked a little bit about it last week, then also in the state game, KJ's initiating a lot of the offense. She's not necessarily on the catch and shoot. She's starting the rotation. Are we going to see a lot more of that moving forward?
Well, I think it's definitely a big piece of our offense. We realized that she was creating most of our offense, so why not put the ball in her hands? And she's done a really good job of reading the defenses and taking what the defense gives us. She's not forcing a whole lot of shots. She's really playing within herself, and she's creating for others. You know, one thing that's been a little bit different is we've actually knocked down a few shots in the last few games. You know, she has gotten them shots all year long. We've actually made a few of those, and we've got some other kids that are putting the ball on the floor and getting into the paint again, not relying on the three as much. So we've really done a good job of that. But you know, our team's athletic, so we have to utilize that athleticism. We have to spread people out, and KJ's a key point in that.
I know it's really early to talk about the standings in the OVC, but looking at them right now, it seems like outside of maybe Belmont at the very top, I mean, everyone seems fairly on an even playing level. Have you just kind of noticed that? And it seems like any game is winnable for you guys.
It is. I think we can win any game, but we also can lose any game. The margin of error for us is very small with this team, and we've just got to do the little things and have the attitude of winning and the refuse to lose going down the stretch. We have 10 games left, and we need to win all 10. Will we? I don't know. You know, more than likely not. But the bottom line is the attitude has to be you have to win those 10. I told them from the very beginning of the season I don't want to be the team that has to hope someone else loses or has to rely on somebody else to get us to the tournament. We don't want to be that team. That's not what we're about. So we have an opportunity in front of us in these next 10 games to control our own destiny, and we've got to win games. We haven't won consecutive OVC games back-to-back. This would be a great week to start that.
Mary Jones has also been more active for your team. Tell us about her role recently.
Well, Mary's earned her time for effort plays. The Tennessee State game, she had 2 offensive rebounds that were huge that kept us going. In the Belmont game, she did some effort plays, made a 3, and then in the state game, same thing, just effort plays, and that's what we're looking for. I mean, you know, she's going to go out and she's going to do the things we wanted to, but the extra effort and bringing that winning attitude is what we're needing. So obviously we're not stuck to one starting lineup. I've probably had more lineup changes than any coach in the country this year, but that's because you got to tinker and you got to figure out what's best. We have figured out that some of our players do better coming off the bench. I mean, their minutes are starters' minutes, but they're better coming off the bench. They give us that spark. And that's their role, and they've accepted it, and they've done extremely well at that. So, but Mary's a kid that it goes to show you that hard work and effort pays off, and that's why she's been getting the starts.
Bria Bethea coming off the bench, seems like that's been part of this recent upturn as well.
It has. We were getting 0 bench production, and every single night, points off the bench, 0, 2, 3. And we realized that we needed a spark coming off the bench, and she's been that, and she's played exceptionally well. She's accepted that role. I mean, everybody loves to start, see their name, hear their name, run out, but that's not what it's about. And she's been a really good senior leader by accepting that role coming off the bench. Abria's been coming off the bench, played probably her best basketball since she came back from the flu. So the buy-in's there, and I feel like that we have taken steps forward. We've just got to take bigger steps these next 10 games to get us in the tournament, because I tell them you can't win it if you're not in it. And I do think that we would be a team people might not want to play at that point if we would keep improving from now to then.